Hello everyone, chapter 5 rulers and building. As we have already discussed about Qutub Minar and architecture style, tribute and arcuate, meaning of superstructure and the main different parts of temple. Now today we discuss about uh, hydraulic structure. Fine, as you can see on your uh, screen, hydraulic structure. So the structure which are made for harnessing and conversing water are called hydraulic structure. In this way, that time rulers think about their subject and how to conserve water when there no rainfall, scarcity of water. So that water they were used in that time. The few example of hydraulic structure like Dholavira Reservoir, or you can see the Golden Temple, or here is the Jal Mahal, the another example of hydraulic structure. So it was widely believed that the rule of a just king would be an age of plenty when the heaven would not withhold rain. It means the scarcity of water. At the same time, the making of precious available constructed tanks and reservoirs are highly praised because that water were used in that time when there were no rainfall. So there the example they given like Delhi Kuana, large reservoir just outside the Delhi Kuana. You can see the area near Delhi, the South Delhi, and it was called Haji Sultani, the King's Reservoir. And in map 1, chapter 3, ruler were constructed tank and reservoir, big and small, for use of ordinary people. Sometimes the tank and reservoir were the part of temple, mosque, as you can see on your screen, the Harmandir Sahib Gurdwara, which the part of this reservoir, the part of the temple, that Gurdwara, and it was that water was used in that time when there were no rain, and it was also used for the place of worship, and the people take bath on special occasion. Okay, so here is the story of hydraulic structure, and as you know the Persian word, Persian term, but a populative purpose, and the body flourishing abode derived from the word up. Up means meaning water. In Persian word, it is the meaning water. Now let's talk about the another one. Why were the temple destroyed? The question is, why were the temple destroyed? Yes, the king and the other ruler built the temple to demonstrate their devotion on their god, their deity. They built massive temples to show their power, their wealth. Okay, so that is why they are the center of wealth. The temples that time were the center of wealth, center of more power. So it is not surprising when they attacked one another kingdom and often targeted these buildings. In the 9th century, when the Pandya kings, the name of that ruler was Shri Mara, Shri Vallabha, invade Sri Lanka. Okay, so defeated Shri Mala defeated uh, the king Sena won, and it was written in the inscription and the chronicle account. We come to know that the Buddhist monk chronicle name was Dhammakirti noted. What he noted that he removed all the valuables The statue of Buddha made entirely of gold and in the jewel place. And the golden image in a various monastery and the golden image in a various monastery, all these he seized. Okay, the Pandya kings. So what happened? The blow the pride Sinhela's ruler had to avenge, and the next Sinhala ruler, he ordered Sena II ordered his general to invade Madurai, the capital of Pandyas. So why he did? Because the Buddhist chronicle noticed the expedition made special efforts to find and restore the gold statue of Buddha. So the people were attacked on temple only for sometime for their greediness. No doubt we find some certain uh, instance of temple destruction by the rival ruler and king. If we go deep, we find out this thing was not done from any fanaticism or the religious point of view. Okay, but for other ulterior motives. The wealth accumulated in these temples attracted many greedy rulers to fill up their coffers and tide over their economic difficulties. Sometimes these temples were destroyed, the conquering force to show their superpower to the associate ruler, to their subject. So, and sometimes they use for to change the ruling dynasty, sometimes lead to the vandalism and ferocity and nothing else. Okay, and here is a few example which show that the why the people were attacked on the temples. Like here, which we have already discussed about the Pandya king, he defeated the Sena one. Okay, and captured the many precious stone and statues. He sees many things. In the 11th century, when the Chola king Rajendra I built the Shiva temple in his capital, and that temple was filled it with a prize statue, okay, seized from the defeated ruler. What that prize statue, he filled that Shiva temple, which he seized from the other area. Okay, so incomplete list included the Asan pedestal from the Chalukya and the Ganesh statue and several statue of Durga, a Nandi statue from the Eastern Chalukya, an image of Bhairava in form of Shiva, and the Bhairava from Kalingas of Odisha. So there are the many statues. Those were placed in another temple. The temple filled with precious statues. These were seized by the other ruler. That ruler seized from the other sides. Okay. If we talk about Sultan Muhammad Ghazni, okay, who was not very popular ruler, but why he was known? Sultan Muhammad was not very important ruler at that time, but he destroyed the temple only because of his greedy. He wanted to fulfill his coffers. Okay, especially that one at Somnath, he tried to win the credit as a great hero of Islam. So in the political culture of the Middle Age, most rulers display their political might and military success by the attacking and looting the places of worship of defeating rulers. Okay, and this way they also thought that in this way that area subject, it means the people of that area easily accept them as a ruler, because if they attack on temple, so the people believe their faith on that temple. So those became the master of that temple. The people automatically follow that master, accept that people as their master. So that is there is a different reason. That is why the people were attacked on temples. Many rulers were attacked on temples. Now the next one is yes, Shahar Bagh. Now look at the picture. These are the few example of Chahar Bagh. You can see the garden divided into 4 division, and each division separated by the water channel. You can see Right now it is direct, but it is water channel. Okay. So let us understand what is the Chahar Bagh. Under the Mughal, architect became more complex. Babur, Humayun, Akbar, Jahangir, Shahjahan were personally interested in literature, art, and architecture. In his autobiography, the Babur described his interest in planning and laying out the formal gardens. Okay, placed with a rectangular walled enclosure and divided into 4 quarters by artificial channels. As you can see in this picture, the Babur supervising the laying out the Chahar Bagh in Kabul. And the people were busy into building this Chahar Bagh. So what is the meaning of Chahar Bagh? So the garden were called Chahar Bagh, 4 gardens. Chahar Bagh means 4 because of their symmetrical division into quarters. So that was divided into 4 parts. Okay, and each and every part in equal proportion. Beginning with Akbar, some of the most beautiful Chahar Bagh was constructed by Jahangir, Shahjahan in Kashmir, Agra, and Delhi. Okay, there were the several important architecture innovation during Akbar region. As you can see the picture of Chahar Bagh. Here is a Chahar Bagh of few pics of Chahar Bagh. Jagar Fort Chahar Bagh, Persian Garden, Indian Chahar Bagh. Now the more let's see. Aga Khan Garden, Persian Garden. So these are the garden. Those are divided into 4 parts, 4 quarter, and separated by artificial channels, water artificial channel. That is known as Chahar Bagh. Okay. The next one is there were some several important architecture innovation during Akbar region. Inspiration Akbar architect turned into tomb of the Central Asian ancestor. So let's understand the what is the meaning of uh, tomb. Okay, so Timur, the center traveling dome or the tall gateway name is Pistag, became important aspect of Mughal architecture. All the great Mughals were great builders. They built fort, palaces, and beautiful tomb, mosque. Akbar built many buildings in red stone. Okay, his first building was the tomb of Humayun at Delhi. It is considered the landmark of Mughal architecture. It was built by Haji Begum. It shows synthesis of Persian and Indian architecture style. Akbar also built a new capital at Fatehpur Sikri, the Buland Darwaja, the tomb of Sheikh Salim Chishti, and the Panch Mahal. Some pieces of the architectural garnier of the Akbar's time. Akbar tomb at Sikandra near Agra. Agra was started by Akbar and completed by his son Jahangir. Same with the Jahangir. Jahangir built tomb of Idmat ul Dola in white at the made up of white marble. In white marble, he laid the beautiful garden in Kashmir. Some these garden like the Nishal and Shalimar garden are still very famous. His chief interest, however, laying in paintings. As you can see in this, the paintings. So the tomb of Ihmad ul Daula is decorated with Pitera Dora, a rank amongst the finest tomb building marble. Now the question is, what is the Pitera Dora? Okay. So here is a Humayun tomb constructed by the Akbar first time at Delhi in between 1562 to 1571. Now the next one is the Mughal architect's first visible Humayun tomb. The tomb was placed in the center of Charbagh and the building traditional known as Eight Paradise. So if we talk about the Humayun tomb, it is built Eight Paradise. Eight Paradise, that the hush to be the central hall surrounded by 8 rooms. Central hall surrounded by 8 rooms. And the building was constructed by red sandstone edges with white marble. So that is the distinctive feature of Humayun tomb. Okay. Now, if we talk about the Shahjahan rule, the different element of Mughal architecture were fused together in huge amount of construction, particularly in Agra and Delhi. Like the Shahjahan built the ceremonial hall for public and the private audience. That hall known as Diwan-e-Khas. Okay, and that hall was properly or carefully planned. That place with a large courtyard. This court were described as Chilchilston, the 40-pillared hall, because that assembly hall had 40 pillars. That was, it is known as Chilchilston, 40-pillared hall. So the Diwan-e-Khas was the idea of Shahjahan. That was the these are the significant feature of Shahjahan architecture, in which kind of style the Shahjahan was interested. Now the connection between royal justice and imperial court also emphasizes Shahjahan in his newly constructed court, Red Fort at Delhi. At the exactly the behind it, the emperor, there was a painting that the series of painting known as Pitera Dora. What is the meaning of Pitera Dora? That the colored and the hard stone placed in depression covered into marble. Through that they are depicting the picture. So depicting the legendary Greek god, and who playing the one musical instrument, lute. Okay, he was believed that the Orpheus music could calm furious beast until they coexist together peacefully. Okay, if there is some kind of picture which create positive environment, so that is why the Shahjahan placed that kind of painting behind his throne to calm down the people. Okay, it spread the positive environment in the court. So there is a reason behind of that painting. And the construction of Diwan-e-Khas, the audience hall, aimed to communicate for the communication purpose, that King Justice would treat and high and low equal, creating world where all could live totally with a harmony. Okay, Chaharbagh we have already discussed. Okay, in next class we will talk about the Taj Mahal.